My friends, have you ever felt like someone was pulling the strings in your life, manipulating things just to fit their own agenda? Have you ever been in a relationship or situation where you felt drained, unseen, or unheard, only to later realize you were dealing with a narcissist? Well, I'm here today to tell you that there's a divine power at work, a force far greater than any manipulation or illusion. That force is truth, and it is being revealed. Through divine revelation, the truth will always come to light. It may not happen on your timeline, it may not happen in the way you expect, but it will happen. When you're facing the narcissist, you often feel like you're in the dark, but you must trust that the light of truth is on its way. It might come in the form of an unexpected conversation, a moment of clarity, or an event that shakes you awake. And when that truth does come, it may feel like a punch to the gut. You might ask yourself, why didn't I see this sooner? But let me tell you something. That moment of awakening is a gift. It's the moment where you can finally take control of your own story. You can set the boundaries you've been afraid to set, protect your peace, and move forward in a way that honors your worth. You see, when narcissists think they can hide, when they think they can control, God has a way of exposing the truth in ways that can't be ignored. Their manipulation and the deceit can only last so long. And when the truth comes, it might feel like a storm, but let me tell you, after every storm, there is calm. After every revelation, there is healing. And that healing, my friends, begins with one thing: you are worthy of respect, love, and care. You don't have to settle for less than what you deserve. Trust in the process, trust in the power of boundaries, and trust in the power of boundaries, and trust in the divine justice that's unfolding. So today I want to remind you, God is exposing narcissists. He is showing us the truth. And when that truth is revealed, it's a moment of liberation. So hold your head high, my friends. You've been given the gift of clarity. You've been given the gift of freedom. And the best part is the power to move forward, to heal, and to reclaim your life. That power, my friends, is all yours. Narcissism is often misunderstood. When we hear the term, we might picture someone with a grandiose sense of self-importance, someone who's constantly boasting about their achievements or seeking admiration from everyone around them. However, the hidden reality of narcissism goes far deeper than this surface-level image. Narcissism is not just about arrogance or self-centeredness. It's about manipulation, control, and the inability to truly connect with others on a deep, empathetic level. Many narcissists don't openly display their flaws, and this is part of what makes them so dangerous. They often wear a mask, projecting an image of charm, confidence, and charisma. In fact, narcissists can be incredibly charismatic and persuasive, drawing people in with their energy and confidence. They may seem like the life of the party, the perfect partner, or the most dependable friend, but behind that mask lies a different reality, a person who thrives on admiration, validation, and control. They often lack true empathy, and their relationships are typically one-sided, where their needs and desires are prioritized, often at the expense of others. The hidden nature of narcissism makes it difficult to recognize, especially when you're caught up in a relationship with a narcissist. Narcissists often excel at convincing others that they are the ones who are in the wrong. They gaslight, manipulate, and deflect blame, making you question your own perceptions and reality. It can leave you feeling confused, isolated, and drained. Over time, these dynamics can cause serious emotional damage as the narcissist continues to take without giving, all while convincing you that it's you who is the problem. In the world of narcissism, there are no equal partnerships or true acts of kindness. Narcissists give only when it benefits them, and their empathy is often shallow, reserved only for when it serves their interests. They might seem loving and caring, but their affection is typically conditional and aimed at getting something in return, whether it's praise, attention, or control. What makes narcissism even more insidious is that it often thrives in environments where vulnerability is met with distrust. Narcissists can sense your insecurities, your emotional needs, and they exploit them. They'll latch onto your weaknesses, feeding you just enough affection or validation to keep you hooked. They'll make you feel special, loved, and needed, all while subtly undermining your self-worth. They create a dynamic where you're constantly trying to prove your love and loyalty, but no matter what you do, it's never enough. This hidden reality of narcissism can leave you feeling like you're stuck in an endless cycle where you're constantly giving and giving, only to find yourself emotionally empty and unfulfilled. And the more you try to break free, the more entangled you become in their web of manipulation. The true impact of narcissism isn't always immediately visible. It's a slow erosion of your sense of self, a constant undermining of your confidence and emotional stability. It's a process that wears you down, making you feel like you're never quite good enough, no matter how much you try. And because narcissists are often so skilled at manipulating and distorting the truth, it can take a long time to see them for what they truly are. The power of divine revelation is a force that transcends our understanding and perception of the world. It operates in ways that are often beyond our control or comprehension, revealing truths at just the right moment, often when we need them most. Divine revelation isn't just about moments of spiritual insight or clarity. It's a transformative power that can shake the very foundation of our lives. It works quietly behind the scenes, and sometimes in ways we don't even recognize until we look back. When we talk about divine revelation, we're referring to the process by which a higher power unveils truths that were hidden or obscured. It's not just about personal enlightenment, though it certainly has that element. It's about revealing deeper realities that might have been clouded by deception, lies, or illusion. In many cases, we may find ourselves caught in situations or relationships that feel confusing, disorienting, or even soul-draining. We may try to make sense of why things aren't right, why we feel stuck, or why certain people or circumstances keep causing us pain. At times, it's easy to blame ourselves or think that we are the ones missing something. But what divine revelation does is shed light on the truth, clearing away the fog of uncertainty. In the context of relationships, divine revelation can be especially powerful. For instance, when you've been involved with someone who is deceitful, manipulative, or emotionally draining like a narcissist, the truth may be obscured by the patterns of manipulation and gaslighting that often accompany such relationships. It can take a long time to realize that something is wrong because narcissists are skilled at creating confusion and making you question your own perceptions. But there is a divine force at work, even in those moments of uncertainty, revealing to you the truth of what's happening beneath the surface. The moment when you finally see them for who they truly are, the moment you recognize the manipulation, the lack of empathy, the selfishness, this is the power of divine revelation at work. What makes divine revelation so powerful is that it can't be forced. It comes in its own time, often when we are ready to receive it. We might try to control the situation, to force an answer or a solution, but divine revelation often requires patience and faith. It teaches us that we don't need to have all the answers and that the truth will eventually come to light, even if it seems hidden or delayed. Sometimes this revelation comes through moments of discomfort or pain. It's as if the universe or a higher power allows us to experience the consequences of remaining in ignorance, to show us the truth by stripping away the illusions we've built. This process, although painful, is also a kind of grace. It's the moment when we begin to see things more clearly, and it's the beginning of our journey toward healing. What once felt like a betrayal or an unfair situation transforms into an opportunity for growth and transformation. The revelation helps us understand that we were never meant to stay in toxic situations or relationships. Divine revelation also brings with it a sense of empowerment. It gives us the strength to take action, to make decisions that honor our truth, and to move away from what no longer serves us. When we can see the truth clearly, we are no longer bound by the manipulations of others. We begin to trust ourselves, our intuition, and the guidance of the divine. It's as if the blinders are removed and we are finally able to walk forward with confidence and clarity. At the heart of divine revelation is the realization that we are never alone in our journeys. Even when things seem uncertain, even when we feel lost or abandoned, divine revelation reminds us that there is a bigger picture, a plan unfolding that we may not fully understand at the moment. It's the assurance that the truth will always be revealed in due time. And that justice, healing, and clarity are part of the divine order. Divine revelation has a power to it that is both humbling and liberating. It opens our eyes to the truth, helping us see beyond our own limitations and the illusions we've been trapped in. It allows us to heal from past wounds, to move forward with renewed strength, and to trust that the path ahead is one of purpose, even if we can't see every step right now. It is a gift that offers not only clarity, but also peace as we align ourselves with a higher truth and trust in the divine process. Narcissistic behavior is often subtle and can manifest in many ways, making it difficult to recognize, especially when we're emotionally invested in a relationship or situation. People with narcissistic traits may seem charming, charismatic, and even self-assured at first. However, as we begin to interact more deeply with them, certain behaviors start to emerge that give insight into their true nature. One of the most common signs is an overwhelming need for admiration. Narcissists thrive on being the center of attention, often going to great lengths to ensure that they are seen as important, special, or superior to others. This constant craving for validation is a hallmark of narcissism, and it can become exhausting for those around them. A second prominent sign is the lack of empathy. Narcissists struggle to recognize or care about the feelings of others, and their responses often reflect this. They may disregard other people's needs, hurt others with little or no remorse, or even manipulate emotions to make themselves feel better. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is something that is either superficial or entirely absent in narcissistic individuals. They may act as if they care, but only when it benefits them, and their true lack of concern often becomes glaringly obvious over time. Another sign of narcissistic behavior is a strong sense of entitlement. Narcissists believe that they are deserving of special treatment, recognition, or resources simply because of who they are. This can manifest in demanding favors, expecting others to cater to their needs, or becoming enraged when they feel overlooked or treated like everyone else. They believe that they should be exempt from the rules that apply to others, and when their expectations aren't met, they often react with frustration or anger, as if their sense of superiority has been violated. Gaslighting is another manipulative tactic often associated with narcissism. Narcissists have a tendency to distort reality, twist the truth, or outright deny facts in an effort to confuse others or make them doubt their own perceptions. They may tell you that something you clearly remember never happened, or accuse you of overreacting when you confront them about their hurtful behavior. This causes confusion and self-doubt, making it harder for the person being manipulated to trust their own judgment or reality. Narcissists also tend to have difficulty maintaining long-term relationships or friendships, as their behavior often leaves people feeling drained, unappreciated, or undervalued. They may burn bridges. They alienate those who once cared for them, either through betrayal, manipulation, or neglect. Over time, their inability to maintain healthy reciprocal relationships leaves them isolated, but even this may be framed as someone else's fault, rather than a result of their own actions. Finally, one of the most telling signs of narcissistic behavior is the tendency to be emotionally immature. While they may seem outwardly mature or self-assured, narcissists often operate on an emotional level that is infantile or self-centered. They may lack the emotional intelligence to manage their feelings appropriately, throwing tantrums when they don't get their way or lashing out in anger when they feel slighted. This emotional immaturity often manifests as a constant need for attention, validation, or control, without regard for the needs or feelings of others. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools we can have in our personal growth and emotional well-being. It is the ability to recognize and understand our own thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and the impact they have on others. It involves being honest with ourselves about who we are, what we need, and where we are in life. Self-awareness doesn't just mean understanding our strengths and achievements. It also means recognizing our weaknesses, our triggers, and the patterns in our lives that may hold us back or cause harm to ourselves and others. One of the most important aspects of self-awareness is understanding our values and boundaries. Without this understanding, we may allow others to treat us in ways that are not aligned with our core beliefs or needs. For instance, in relationships, narcissists often take advantage of our lack of self-awareness, manipulating us into compromising our boundaries and tolerating behavior that we should never accept. When we know what we stand for, what we need, and where we draw the line, we are better equipped to protect our emotional health and make decisions that honor our true selves. Self-awareness also enables us to recognize and change patterns of behavior that are not serving us. Many of us develop habits or coping mechanisms that may have been useful at one point in our lives, but no longer serve us as we grow. These patterns might include avoiding conflict, people-pleasing, or staying in unhealthy relationships because we fear being alone. The first step in breaking these patterns is to become aware of them. Once we understand the underlying reasons for our behavior, whether it's fear, insecurity, or past trauma, we can begin to change it. Self-awareness is about seeing ourselves honestly and compassionately without judgment, and being willing to evolve. Furthermore, being self-aware helps us make conscious choices rather than defaulting to automatic responses. For example, when we're in a difficult situation or dealing with challenging people, self-awareness allows us to pause and reflect before reacting. It enables us to consider our options and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. In relationships, especially with narcissists, this ability to respond consciously is crucial. Narcissists thrive on triggering emotional reactions and manipulating their targets into making decisions based on fear, guilt, or confusion. When we are self-aware, we can recognize when we are being triggered and choose to respond in ways that protect our emotional well-being and maintain our boundaries. In addition to emotional management, self-awareness helps us improve our relationships with others. By understanding our own needs and how we interact with others, we can communicate more effectively and build stronger, more authentic connections. It helps us recognize when we may be projecting our own issues onto others or when we're misinterpreting someone else's actions. Self-awareness allows us to take responsibility for our own role in any dynamic, helping us become more empathetic, understanding, and respectful in our interactions. Moreover, self-awareness is essential for personal empowerment. It allows us to understand our own worth and believe in our abilities, regardless of how others may treat us. For example, when dealing with narcissistic individuals, a lack of self-awareness can make us susceptible to their manipulation and control. We may begin to question our worth or lose sight of our own needs in favor of trying to please or accommodate them. However, when we are aware of our own value and have a clear sense of self, we can stand firm in our beliefs, make decisions based on what is best for us, and avoid being controlled or undermined by others. Self-awareness also fosters resilience. Life is full of challenges, and when we know ourselves well, we are better equipped to handle adversity. We are able to acknowledge our fears or weaknesses without letting them define us. Instead of being paralyzed by difficulties, self-awareness gives us the tools to learn from our experiences, adjust our approach, and continue moving forward. This resilience is especially important in relationships with narcissists, who often create emotional turbulence by playing on our insecurities. A strong sense of self-awareness helps us build the resilience to weather these emotional storms and emerge stronger on the other side. Ultimately, self-awareness is the foundation for personal growth and transformation. It is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing process. The more we practice self-awareness, the more we understand our own motivations, desires, and limitations. It becomes a compass that guides us toward making decisions that align with our authentic selves and leads us to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. It allows us to recognize when we're being manipulated, when we're tolerating toxic behavior, or when we're settling for less than we deserve. With this understanding, we can take empowered action, whether it's setting boundaries, seeking support, or making difficult but necessary changes in our lives. In a world where we are constantly influenced by external forces, other people, social media, societal expectations, self-awareness serves as our anchor. It is a reminder that we have the power to define who we are, how we want to be treated, and what we are willing to accept. It's the key to breaking free from toxic patterns and relationships, and it's the first step toward living a life that is truly aligned with our deepest values and desires. By embracing self-awareness, we give ourselves the gift of understanding and the power to transform our lives from the inside out. A spiritual awakening is a profound and transformative experience that shifts the way we perceive the world and ourselves. It's like waking up from a deep sleep, where everything feels clearer, more vibrant, and full of meaning. For many, this awakening begins as a quiet inner stir, a sense that something is missing, or a feeling that life has deeper significance beyond the material world. It's not necessarily a dramatic event, but rather a gradual realization that there is more to existence than what we've been taught or conditioned to believe. This awakening often starts with a sense of disillusionment. People begin to question the life they've been living, the beliefs they've held, and the paths they followed. They may experience dissatisfaction with the conventional achievements of society, money, status, and success, realizing that these external markers of happiness do not bring lasting fulfillment. There's a yearning for something more meaningful, something deeper that goes beyond the surface of daily life. This inner longing is often the first whisper of spiritual awakening, calling us to explore a deeper connection to ourselves and the universe. As the process unfolds, many people begin to experience a heightened sense of awareness. Their perceptions of the world shift, and they begin to see things in a new light. They may feel more connected to nature, to other people, and to the energy that flows through all things. Time may seem to slow down, and the mundane activities of life, once taken for granted, become infused with a new sense of purpose and presence. This shift in awareness often leads to an understanding that everything in life is interconnected, and that every action, thought, and feeling has a ripple effect on the world around us. At the same time, a spiritual awakening often leads to an increased sense of self-awareness. People begin to look inward, exploring their true nature and questioning who they really are. They may begin to challenge their beliefs, values, and identity, letting go of old attachments or false perceptions they've held about themselves. This can be a deeply unsettling process, as it often involves confronting uncomfortable truths or letting go of the ego's need for control and validation. But it is through this inner journey that true transformation takes place. The person starts to peel away the layers of conditioning and false beliefs, allowing the authentic self to emerge. During a spiritual awakening, many people experience a shift in their priorities and what they value most. Material possessions, social status, and the need for approval from others may become less important, while a deeper desire for peace, love, and spiritual connection grows. There is a growing recognition that true happiness doesn't come from external sources, but from within, through cultivating a sense of inner peace, gratitude, and alignment with one's higher purpose. This often leads to a more simplified, intentional life where one is more focused on personal growth, emotional healing, and fostering meaningful relationships. The process of spiritual awakening can also lead to a deep sense of compassion and empathy for others. As individuals begin to understand their own pain and struggles, they become more attuned to the suffering of others and feel a stronger sense of connection to them. There is a growing realization that all beings are on their own unique journey, and that everyone is facing their own challenges. This sense of compassion allows individuals to approach others with love, forgiveness, and understanding, rather than judgment or criticism. However, a spiritual awakening is not always easy. It can bring up deep-seated emotions, unresolved trauma, and fears that have been buried for years. These emotions can surface in powerful ways, and the process of healing and releasing them can be intense. People may experience feelings of loss, confusion, or fear as they navigate this period of change. The old patterns of thinking, behaving, and relating to others may no longer serve them, and it can take time to adjust to this new way of being. The ego may resist the changes, trying to hold on to its old sense of self, but with patience and dedication, it becomes clear that the journey of awakening is about letting go of old identities, old habits, and old ways of thinking, and embracing a higher, more authentic version of ourselves. Narcissists, with their ability to charm and manipulate, often create an illusion of perfection that can deceive those around them. They project an image of confidence, success, and superiority, hiding their true nature beneath layers of carefully constructed facades. For a time, they may succeed in maintaining this illusion, drawing others in with their charisma and charm. But beneath the surface, their insecurities, egos, and manipulative tendencies are always lurking, ready to be revealed. While it may seem like narcissists can control their image indefinitely, the truth is that they cannot hide forever. The very nature of narcissism, the need for constant admiration, validation, and control, creates cracks in their facade. Narcissists often go to great lengths to maintain their image, but their behavior is inherently self-serving and unsustainable. At some point, the pressure to constantly uphold the illusion becomes too great, and their true character begins to show through. Their actions, which may be charming and considerate at first, eventually reveal themselves to be self-centered and manipulative. One of the first signs that a narcissist can no longer hide is the inconsistency in their behavior. Narcissists are skilled at performing for an audience, whether that audience is a romantic partner, a friend, or a colleague. They know how to say the right things, how to act in ways that appear caring or generous, and how to win over the people they want to impress. However, over time, the performance becomes harder to sustain. The narcissist's need for admiration can push them to engage in erratic or inconsiderate behavior that undermines their carefully crafted image. They may lash out when they don't get the validation they expect, or they may act coldly toward those who once admired them. These inconsistent behaviors expose the cracks in their persona and reveal the true nature of their character. The narcissist's lack of empathy is another trait that eventually becomes impossible to hide. While they may initially appear charming or even compassionate, their inability to understand or care about the feelings of others becomes increasingly apparent. They may make hurtful comments or dismiss the needs of those around them, often in subtle but damaging ways. Over time, the lack of genuine concern for others becomes more glaring. When people start to notice how self-serving the narcissist is, how they never truly listen or show empathy, it becomes harder to ignore. Even those who once admired them begin to feel the emotional distance and the coldness that underlies their interactions. In addition to their lack of empathy, narcissists often struggle with handling criticism. Their fragile ego cannot tolerate being challenged, and any hint of criticism can trigger defensiveness, rage, or a need to retaliate. This inability to handle criticism effectively often reveals the deep insecurity that lies beneath their facade of confidence. Over time, those who interact with them begin to notice that any disagreement or constructive feedback is met with hostility, manipulation, or deflection. Instead of owning up to mistakes or acknowledging their flaws, narcissists often shift the blame onto others or resort to gaslighting, attempting to make the other person feel as if they are in the wrong. This defensive behavior is a clear indicator that the narcissist's carefully constructed image is not as solid as it appears. Another aspect of narcissistic behavior that becomes impossible to hide is their tendency to exploit others. Narcissists often view relationships and interactions through the lens of what they can gain. They may seek out people who can provide them with attention, resources, or validation, and once they've gotten what they want, they discard them. In personal relationships, this can manifest as emotional manipulation, where the narcissist uses guilt, fear, or love bombing to control and dominate their partner. Over time, people begin to see the pattern of exploitation, and they start to question the sincerity of the narcissist's actions. When others realize that they have been used for the narcissist's own gain, they can no longer turn a blind eye to the manipulation. The narcissist's sense of entitlement is another trait that eventually becomes apparent to those around them. Narcissists believe they are deserving of special treatment, and they expect others to cater to their every need. At first, this might be subtle, perhaps in small demands for attention or favors, but over time, the entitlement becomes more pronounced. They may become angry or resentful if their expectations are not met, and their sense of superiority becomes harder to disguise. When people see how the narcissist expects others to serve them while offering little in return, it becomes clear that their sense of self-importance is not just a personality trait, but a fundamental part of their identity. As time goes on, the narcissist's true behavior often starts to wear down the patience and goodwill of those around them. Friends, family, and coworkers may initially tolerate the narcissist's behavior because of their charm or because they don't fully understand what is happening. However, as the narcissist's self-centeredness becomes more glaring, people begin to distance themselves. Relationships become strained, and the narcissist's tactics to maintain control no longer have the same effect. Narcissists may try to maintain power by resorting to guilt tripping or isolating others, but this only further alienates them. Eventually, they are left without the admiration or validation they crave, and the facade that worked so hard to create begins to crumble. One of the most significant signs that a narcissist can't hide forever is when they are exposed for their manipulative behavior. Narcissists often rely on deceit and manipulation to maintain control over others, but this manipulation doesn't last indefinitely. People eventually begin to recognize the tactics used to exploit, control, or deceive them. Whether it's gaslighting, triangulation, or playing the victim, the manipulative behaviors become harder to ignore. When others see through the lies and recognize the narcissist's true motives, the mask falls away and the narcissist is left exposed. At this point, the narcissist may react with fury or try to play the victim, but the truth has been revealed and their hold over others weakens. In the end, no matter how skillfully a narcissist may hide their true nature, the truth always emerges. The cracks in the facade, the inconsistencies, the emotional manipulation, and the sense of entitlement eventually give way to reality. The people who have been manipulated or hurt by the narcissist begin to see through the illusion, and the narcissist's ability to control or charm others fades. While they may continue to try to hide or manipulate, their true self will always be exposed in time. It's an inevitable part of their journey, no matter how long they manage to keep up the act. The gift of healing is a profound and transformative force, one that extends far beyond physical recovery. It is an energy that can repair broken spirits, restore emotional well-being, and restore harmony to relationships that have been wounded. Healing is not simply about curing an illness or alleviating pain. It is about mending the parts of us that have been torn, hurt, or neglected, and allowing us to return to a state of wholeness, peace, and balance. At its core, healing is an act of compassion and love. Not just toward others, but also toward oneself. Often we are so caught up in the demands of life that we forget to care for our inner selves, pushing aside our emotions, denying our pain, or ignoring the deep-seated wounds we carry. The gift of healing invites us to turn inward, to look at those parts of us that need attention and care, and to offer ourselves the same compassion and forgiveness that we would give to a friend or loved one. It is a reminder that we are worthy of love and care, and that healing begins when we embrace our own imperfections and choose to heal from within. Healing can also manifest in how we connect with others. Sometimes the most profound healing happens when we offer a listening ear, a kind word, or a supportive presence to someone who is struggling. In relationships, our ability to heal others comes from a place of empathy and understanding, knowing that we are all human and that we all face challenges, pain, and suffering. Healing is not about fixing someone else's problems, but about being there for them, holding space for their feelings, and offering unconditional support. Often just knowing that we are not alone in our struggles is enough to begin the healing process. Healing also requires us to be willing to let go. It involves releasing old hurts, resentments, and grudges that weigh us down and block our ability to move forward. Holding on to past pain, whether from old relationships, past failures, or past traumas, keeps us tethered to a version of ourselves that is defined by that hurt. The gift of healing calls us to release these burdens, to forgive not only others but ourselves, and to open ourselves to new experiences, growth, and joy. This process of letting go can be difficult. It requires vulnerability, courage, and trust, but it is also one of the most liberating aspects of healing. As we begin to heal, we also open ourselves to transformation. Healing is not a static process, it is dynamic and ongoing. The more we heal, the more we grow. Our past wounds no longer define us. Instead, they become a part of our story, a story of resilience, strength, and personal growth. As we heal, we become more attuned to our own needs, more understanding of others, and more grounded in our own truth. We also begin to recognize that healing is not an individual journey, it is a shared experience. By healing ourselves, we contribute to the healing of the world around us. Our healing ripples out, touching the lives of others, offering hope and encouragement, and inspiring others to heal as well. The gift of healing is also deeply spiritual. Many believe that healing is not just about physical or emotional recovery, but about connecting to a higher power or source of energy that flows through all of life. Whether this energy is called divine, universal, or something else, the belief is that healing comes when we align ourselves with this source, allowing it to flow freely through our bodies, minds, and spirits. This alignment can bring a sense of peace, purpose, and understanding that goes beyond what we can see or comprehend. Spiritual healing may involve prayer, meditation, energy work, or simply being present in the moment, trusting that we are connected to something greater than ourselves. Additionally, healing is not always a linear process. It may not follow a predictable timeline or result in immediate change. Sometimes healing happens in waves, with periods of progress followed by setbacks or moments of emotional upheaval. This can be frustrating, especially when we want to fix ourselves or see quick results. However, the journey of healing is often slow and subtle, revealing itself in small shifts and moments of clarity. It requires patience, faith, and the understanding that healing is a process, not an event. The gift of healing lies not in reaching a final destination, but in embracing the journey itself. The act of healing can be deeply personal, yet it is also something that connects us all. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles and that, as humans, we are all on a path of growth and healing in one way or another. When we open ourselves to the gift of healing, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to experience our pain, and to be open to the possibility of growth and transformation. Healing teaches us that it is okay to feel pain, to feel broken, but it also teaches us that we are capable of rising from that pain stronger and more whole than before. Ultimately, the gift of healing is one of renewal. It is a process that allows us to shed old patterns, heal old wounds, and step into a new version of ourselves, one that is healthier, more connected, and more aligned with our true purpose. It offers us the chance to release what no longer serves us and to embrace new possibilities. It is the gift of self-love, forgiveness, and compassion, reminding us that healing is not just something that happens to us, but something we can actively choose and cultivate in every moment of our lives. Through healing, we find peace, joy, and an unshakable belief in the beauty of our own transformation. The call for boundaries is an essential and empowering reminder that we have the right to protect our energy, time, and emotional well-being. Boundaries are not about building walls or isolating ourselves from others. Instead, they are about establishing guidelines that allow us to show up as our true, authentic selves without sacrificing our needs, values, or self-respect. The need for boundaries arises when we recognize that we are responsible for ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and that we must take charge of our own lives, ensuring we don't allow others to dictate or control our emotional landscape. The call for boundaries is especially important in relationships, both personal and professional. In the past, many of us may have been taught to prioritize the needs of others over our own. We may have been socialized to believe that saying no is selfish or that we should always put others first. But when we operate from this mindset, we often end up feeling resentful, taken for granted, or overextended. Setting boundaries allows us to create a space where we can say yes to what truly aligns with our values and desires, and no to what drains us or disrespects us. It gives us the permission to put ourselves first when needed without guilt or shame. In relationships, boundaries are about understanding our limits and communicating them clearly to others. Sometimes this involves saying no to requests or demands that feel overwhelming or uncomfortable. Other times, it may involve asking for more space or time for ourselves to recharge. The key is being clear about what is acceptable to us and what is not. Healthy boundaries help to preserve our mental and emotional well-being, and they foster more honest and respectful connections with others. When we communicate our boundaries effectively, we teach others how to treat us, and we create an environment where mutual respect can thrive. However, setting boundaries can feel challenging, especially if we fear rejection, conflict, or disappointing others. Many of us may have internalized the belief that we should always be accommodating or agreeable. This mindset can make it difficult to assert ourselves and communicate our needs clearly, but it is essential to recognize that boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about taking responsibility for our own well-being. Establishing and maintaining boundaries allows us to protect our energy and emotional health, which ultimately benefits both us and the people in our lives. When we allow ourselves the space to prioritize our own needs, we show up as our best, most authentic selves for others rather than feeling depleted or resentful. The call for boundaries is also a call to honor our emotional needs. Emotions are powerful indicators of what we need and what we are experiencing. When we feel anxious, overwhelmed, or stressed, it often signals that our boundaries are being violated. These emotions are invitations to listen to ourselves, check in with what we need, and take action to restore balance. By honoring our emotions and responding to them with care, we can recognize when our boundaries need to be reinforced or adjusted. It's not about ignoring or suppressing our feelings, it's about using them as a tool to guide us toward healthier, more balanced lives. Another important aspect of boundaries is understanding that they are fluid and can evolve over time. As we grow and change, our needs, priorities, and capacities may shift. Boundaries are not rigid or fixed, they can be flexible and dynamic, adjusting to the circumstances of our lives. For example, the boundaries we set in a romantic relationship may look different than those we set in a workplace environment. What we need from our friends or family may change as we move through different life stages. The call for boundaries is an invitation to remain attuned to our evolving needs and to stay in touch with our intuition and inner wisdom. As we change, so too should our boundaries. The process of setting boundaries also involves learning to trust ourselves. We must trust that our needs are valid and that we are worthy of creating the space we need for our own well-being. Trusting ourselves means recognizing when something feels off or when our boundaries are being crossed and having the courage to address it. It is an ongoing practice of checking in with ourselves, listening to our inner voice, and honoring the guidance that arises. Trust is the foundation of healthy boundaries because it allows us to make choices that are in alignment with our truth, rather than being influenced by external pressures or fears of disappointing others. The call for boundaries is also a call to recognize that we cannot control others' behavior, but we can control how we respond to it. Setting boundaries gives us the power to decide what we will tolerate and what we will not. It removes the feeling of helplessness or victimhood, allowing us to reclaim our autonomy and agency. We may not be able to change other people's actions, but we can choose to protect ourselves from harm by setting clear and firm boundaries. In doing so, we assert our right to take up space in the world, to say no when needed, and to prioritize our own well-being. Ultimately, the call for boundaries is a call for self-respect, self-love, and self-preservation. It is a reminder that we are responsible for ourselves and that we have the power to create a life that honors our needs, desires, and values. Boundaries help us to maintain balance, protect our energy, and build healthier, more fulfilling relationships. They are a powerful tool for personal empowerment, allowing us to show up fully in our lives, secure in the knowledge that we are worthy of respect, kindness, and care. Embracing empowerment is about stepping into the full realization of our own strength, capabilities, and worth. It is a conscious choice to take control of our lives, recognize our inherent potential, and actively shape our experiences. To embrace empowerment is to understand that we are the authors of our own stories, and no matter what circumstances we face, we hold the power to choose our response, take action, and create change. Empowerment is not about seeking validation from others, but about finding it within ourselves, trusting our instincts, and tapping into the wellspring of resilience and wisdom that resides in each of us. Embracing empowerment also requires resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, learn from our mistakes, and keep moving forward. Life will inevitably present challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But those who embrace empowerment understand that these experiences are not the end of the road, they are simply part of the journey. Resilience means having the inner strength to face hardship head-on, to learn from it, and to continue pushing toward our goals, no matter how difficult the path may seem. With resilience, setbacks become opportunities for growth, and failure becomes a lesson, not a verdict on our worth or potential. In essence, embracing empowerment is a commitment to ourselves, to our growth, our dreams, and our potential. It is a declaration that we are worthy of love, success, and joy, and that we have the strength to overcome any obstacle that stands in our way. Empowerment is the realization that we are not passive participants in our lives, but active creators of our destiny. When we embrace empowerment, we unlock the door to a life filled with purpose, passion, and possibility. It is a life where we are free to be our authentic selves, to express our truth, and to step into our full power without fear, hesitation, or apology.